The Skywatcher Star Adventurer. I think it's accepted now. If you want a small star tracker, this is the way to go. There are a few variants of the Star Adventurer. This is the first gen I got years ago, and there are a few others from Ioptron and Move Shoot Move, and they all share the same basic principles of a star tracker. Half the price of a full-on go-to equatorial, lightweight, and extremely capable if well handled. Over the past couple of years, I've learned how to really make this thing sing, and I want to share some of these tips and tricks. First, the base. No doubt if you've gone so far to have one of these, you have a camera tripod, and you thought you'd save some money by using this to hold something much bulkier and heavier than a regular camera and lens. Then you realized how unstable it is and spent the night collecting star trails and circles. These tripods are great for cameras and cameras alone. The narrow base here doesn't provide much support from any imbalanced load, either from equipment or wind. A better option is something with a wide base which supports the entire plate. This is the stock tripod for this tracker. I got it for $50 on B&H, and I know there are others to be found either on eBay, Cloudy Nights, somewhere. And it doesn't have to be this exact model, as long as it has a wide flat base that is directly connected to the legs and a 3/8 bolt, because that's what this wedge takes. With that solved, you still need to make sure everything else down here is up to snuff. When it arrived, the legs were quite loose, some Loctite for the threads, and new spacers for the bolts. Easy fix. Next was the washers for the plate. The originals were too thin and flimsy. A combination of nylon because it's slick and steel because it's strong takes care of that. Moving up the Latitude base, or some call it the wedge, it was also very loose. The forks here were too far apart, and I can only tighten this bolt here so much before something breaks. So another nylon washer, problem solved. One more thing for stability, where you place this does matter. Right, you may be proud of that new wood patio, especially with the price of lumber right now, like it's been for the past 2 years, but it's no good for this hobby. While your 100-pound plus self stands there, the boards flex a little bit. So as you polar align, you're aligning everything with a deformed base. So everything looks good until you step away, the boards return to their normal shape, and you're no longer polar aligned, and you get star trails. A better option is the grass, but the best is going to be concrete or pavement. Assuming all that works and you can now capture several minute subs without trails, let's make it a little bit easier. We'll start with the polar scope. It's no secret that the little red light that comes with this was developed as an afterthought, and there are several ways to get around that, but I found the easiest and cheapest method is one I found from Alan Wallace. Glow-in-the-dark tape. Charge it up with your headlamp and you have about half an hour of usable light. At the other end, you may want to invest in something like this, a right-angle viewfinder, to avoid the neck pain of crouching down to look up for a couple minutes. If you search for this right-angle viewfinder, you'll find plenty of results for this part. This is meant for DSLR viewfinders because that's useful somehow for some reason. You have to search a little bit more for the polar scope adapter, which just slides in, not like that, like that. Power supply. Step 1, remove AA batteries. Step 2, don't ever consider putting them back in. Step 3, use the 5-volt port on the side connected to something way more reliable and longer lasting. Step 4, go ahead and zip tie that cord so you don't make the same mistake I did and accidentally rip out the port because you forgot to unplug it before you move your battery. The replacement circuit board is $80, and that was 3 years ago. I'm sure it's more now. While we're here, go ahead and get an insulated lunch bag and have some hand warmers ready. For the bitter winter temperatures, this will keep your battery from freezing through the night. Finding your target. Normally this involves star hopping and a bunch of test shots, which can be a real pain if you're after something that requires a couple minutes of exposure to see any hint of. This is where a laser, red dot, or finder scope really help, but I found the best method is not only cheaper, but it's also faster and more reliable. Paper and tape. Link in the description down below for more details, but the gist is Use Stellarium or whatever means of finding the coordinates of your target, then use the dials, and assuming you set it up properly, you will find your target is centered. And last, these things are small and lightweight for a reason. They're meant for traveling. Take advantage of that and leave your light polluted backyard and go somewhere without a crap ton of streetlights ruining everything. There are plenty of parks out there that aren't locked up at night, and speaking from personal experience, 9 times out of 10, if a cop pulls up to you, the moment they see the camera, they realize this person is not out here selling drugs. They're just another nerd, and they drive off. That wraps up for this episode. I'm sure there are more tips and tricks to be found and discussed, especially when everyone gets the GTI. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.